Hiya. If, like me, you watch Wayne the Woodturner, you will have seen him using his tool post mounted Dremel to cut slots for potpourri things and other decorative work. He has a nice table that he uses on there to control the Dremel cut. I've watched him several times use that, and every time I've seen it, I thought, must make one of those. Must make one of those. I haven't got round to it yet. However, watching him the other week, somebody suggested a key slot would allow some extra flexibility of the tool, which it might. I don't know if it will or not. We'll find out because I'm going to make one. But in fact, I'm going to make three. I'm going to make one for myself, one I'll send to Wayne, and one as a giveaway. Now, this is my Dremel, and obviously I am going to make it to fit my Dremel, but I will make it so that it can be adjusted to fit other Dremels with a bit of ingenuity, because I don't know if they're all the same or not. But let's switch over to the bandsaw, where most of the work's going to get done. I've got a piece of construction pine. I've got a piece of construction plywood, 18mm, and a piece of hardwood plywood, 9mm. And that's what I'm going to be using with a bit of hardware to make this tool up. So yeah, let's get on with it. Now, I have to confess, I haven't really done a plan for this. I'm just doing it by guesswork. We also should wait until next week because I've got a new bandsaw blade on its way. This one's blunt, but hey, when the mood strikes, you cut. I can't see the screen from here, so I'm only guessing, but hopefully you can see this is my homemade push stick. I just fashioned a handle which is comfy to hold, put a piece of board on it, and that gives me a decent grip, and a push stick which keeps my hand away from the blade. An advantage of making multiple pieces together is you figure out where things go on one and then just transfer those simple marks to the others. So in theory, I'm using a 15mm drill bit, Forstner bit. I'm using a sawtooth, not because it's necessary, but because it's the one that came to my hand first. And my Dremel is just over 45mm diameter. A little bit too big to use a 45mm drill bit. 3. I was going to use some 4mm bolts for this clamp, but my 4mm drill bit isn't big enough, isn't long enough. So I'm going to go with 5mm. Proper tool makers out there will be cringing at this point because I only marked one direction on that, but hey, is it good enough for this? Okay, so I have a block with a hole in it that will accommodate a Dremel. Obviously the hole is too big, so I need to take a little slice out of that and make it a non-circular hole that will fit the Dremel. And one thing I've watched for is these air vents, and these here are not covered by my clamp, nor is the switch. Show it to the camera, that helps. So the switch is accessible, the air vents are free, and hopefully that will work. So we're back at the bandsaw. By using my shim, which also doubles as a push stick. I'm able to remove a little piece of each of those. So with that section removed, I now have a viable clamp that will hold the Dremel, gently but firmly. I'll put a bit of foam around inside there just to give it a bit more grip. I don't think it needs it, but I've got some, so I'll do it. This is going to be this wide because that's the size of the offcut I had. And it's going to be that long because watching Wayne, it's handy to move the Dremel out clear of the piece, so the hinge needs to be a little bit offset, I think. But we'll give it a go. Three bases. Right, that was 18mm ply. This is 9mm ply. I want 6 of these. That size. Killing the bandsaw table, something I virtually never do. By rotating it 180 degrees and cutting back through on the same angle, I should end up with a dovetail, in theory. Let's get this table back flat again now. Getting table back flat is much easier if you use something like this. It's just a magnetic angle finder. You set it to 0 on the blade, stick it on the table. When it reads 90, you're good to go. It works. Very handy bit of kit. So the next bit's a bit dull. So basically I take an uncut piece and I take a keyway piece, whoop, throw it on the floor, and I lay the pieces on top, glue them all together, and that should slide through there. Obviously I don't glue this piece in. And I'll come up with a way of locking it in place. So next bit is just watching glue dry, so I'll just cut that bit out. I should just say when gluing up, do make sure your dovetails are the right way around and that the slide does fit in there. It's a tight fit, but a bit of sanding will sort that out. It's got it over the curve, but it's fine. It works. So I have glued these slides on, and what I need to do now is put a lock on that keyway so that you can hold it in place. So all I've done, drilled a hole through here, drilled a larger hole halfway through here, which will take a nut that I will glue into place. Then you just tighten the bolt down and it will act as a friction stop. So guess what I'm doing? I'm gluing again. Okay, so I'm only going to show one of these because they're a bit of a fiddle, but they're all the same. So what I want to do is get this clamp onto the end of the slide part. So that's where it wants to go. Don't need that at the moment. Should have put the drill bit in before I press record, really. Never mind. So line that up with the edge. It's not overly vital because the position is going to be set by the angle of the door post. So all I'm doing is going through and marking. So now I'm going to switch to a small drill bit because I want to do a portion of it from the other side, and it's more accurate with a small. If you put the drill in straight. I'm going to go right the way through there. And switch to a 16mm bit. I'm using these coach bolts. I want to lose that head, so I don't need to go very deep with this, but I just need to lose that head. I want to lose that head on the underside. Now, obviously, it's more efficient if I did all three in one go, but because it's a faff, I'll do one at a time. Well, I'll do this one at a time for filming. The other two I'll do as a unit. That'll do me nicely. It's just enough to lose that head into. And I'll go back to the 6mm. Now, I'm not going to glue these in any way because one's a giveaway, one's getting sent to Wayne, and one I'm keeping. I may want to, or they may want to modify it to fit their Dremel. I don't know. They might want to use a complete different clamp, but that's not the way around I had it. Pencil lines are your friend on these things. They're even better if you actually use them. So there's the clamp. All I've got to do now is put the wing that pour those into the space I've made for them, and that'll be flat again. And we'll go back on the slide. So there it is. The bolt heads are pulled into the portion of bit hole that I made. So the slide fits into the base plate, which I hope is on camera. As you can see, this locking screw back here just tighten that down and it locks it in place. And the Dremel is neatly and firmly into the clamp. I didn't show you when I did it because I was gluing, and gluing is boring, but I did put a bit of foam on the inside of these just to give it a bit of extra grip on the Dremel without doing any damage. So that's it. I said if I was not filming, I'd have just done all three in one go, but because I was filming, I'm going to fiddle around a bit more. Okay, time to fix the top and the bottom together with a hinge. This is much easier to do on my workbench than it is here, but I haven't got a camera there, so just mark my holes with a bradawl. Go into the end grain of plywood. It's not going to be majorly strong, but it's not a door or anything heavy. Should be fine. Notice I've got the two pieces clamped together where I want them to be. That's because my memory's rubbish. I'm not using the right screws because I haven't got them. So this won't open completely flat and smooth, and it doesn't need to. The weird thing is, I'm struggling to do this at the wrong height, wrong angle, hopefully on camera, but I can't actually see the screen from here because that's in front of the lathe. I'm behind the lathe. So I'm guessing that you might be able to see what I'm doing. So I take the clamp off and I've got a hinge. Now Wayne stops when he's not using it about there. So I use a bit of strap to hold it there. We'll see how that works. Okay. Tool post 1 is a bust. Enough. This is why you do cheap timber to start with. So we'll go 2 centimeters longer and hopefully that'll be better. So you also notice I've done a little cut all the way around here. It only goes in a couple of mil. I was on the saw anyway, and that gives me a nice sharp shoulder to work to. Save putting a pencil mark on it. so I chopped it off so that it fitted in there and it dropped all the way to the bed, which is what I would like from a tool rest, so I can get in close. But this is different. This needs to cut from above, so it needs to be higher. So by the time I put my table on, it's going to be above. Grab a table. Incidentally, I've made 3 of these tables. As you can see, it's going to be above. So the Dremel itself will fit 2 centimeters above the center. That's because whatever I'm cutting is going to be bigger than the center. But of course, if I bring it out a bit, then it will drop down. We'll take it in even. So it will go down to where I want it. Yeah, as I said, I've made 3 of these. One's for me. One's being sent up to Wayne the wood turner because I nicked the idea from his, and it may or may not be slightly improved on what he's using because it has this keyway that allows him to slide the Dremel in closer to the piece. Don't know if that's an advantage or not. Trial and error required to figure out that. And this is just a bolt. I showed it earlier. It's just a bolt which, let's go on this one. Just a bolt which screws in and puts a friction lock on the key so it doesn't slide. So all I've done is epoxy a bolt into a block of wood. Makes it easier to turn. I could have turned that round and done it, but actually a square sided one is even easier to turn. So I just glued it in and cut it off on a bandsaw. Simple as. Right. Stick you on pause while I arrange things in it. Okay, so as you can see, at the moment it's a single screw holding it in place. That just goes straight through the center. When I've got a tool post I'm happy with, I may put a second screw in there to stop it moving around so much. I may even glue it on the bottom if I'm completely happy. But a single screw does for testing. And I slide my Dremel into place. Glue the clamps up. And the next job is to position it so that you get the angle you want and the height you want. So I'm just going to do some decoration. I can't do the slot cutting that Wayne does because I don't have that blade. I'll get it one day. So I'm just going to do some decoration on the edge of this, on this bead. This is all jam shop, by the way. I just put a bead on there for playing purposes. There is a link down below to Wayne the wood turner using this tool on his existing table to both decorate the edge and cut slots. Highly recommend you go and watch that. Even if you've seen Wayne use it before, that one's a particularly good one, worth a watch. And well, you'll enjoy watching Wayne and you'll see how this works. Win-win. So, by moving my banjo around, I can change the angle, and position my Dremel so that when that table closes, I will have a decoration there. Tighten everything up to make sure we're all good. Doesn't need to be super tight. Now I need a strap here of some sort to stop this from opening all the way. It needs to open about there. I'll figure that out. Probably a piece of string is all it needs. This side. So you need to index. I'm using my homemade indexing ring. I'll link that video as well, just in case you haven't seen it. Aluminium disc bought from eBay, holes drilled in it, and a homemade pin. I could also use my Super Precision chuck, which has got an indexing ring on it, or I could use the lathe indexing. I would normally use the Super Precision. The lathe is rubbish. Indexing on it is hopeless to use, especially if you're not using every single hole. But for the purposes of this, I shall use this one. And I'll use that view to start with. So, turn the Dremel on. I might need to buy myself some new cutters. Move to your next index position. Switch it to overhead. As you can see, my Dremel is burning its way in rather than cutting its way in. So if you watch Wayne live and ask him what cutters he uses, And there is a decoration. Let's go back to that view. As you can see, it's horrible. I just burnt everything. But with a decent Dremel cutter, it does cut. This one just burns. As I said, go to the link down below, see when using this tool the way it's supposed to be used with the right resources, right kit, and making a proper project, not just making the table. I think that's about it. Just like it, stick your thumbs up, go into the comments and put in Dremel table as a comment, anywhere you like, just Dremel table or just Dremel. And when I'm live on a Monday in 2 weeks time, I will do a lucky dip type draw and give away one of the 3 that I've made. So you'll get it like this. It won't be a tool post on it. You'll make the tool post to fit your lathe. As you saw, it's a very, very simple thing to do. Make the tool post to fit your lathe and you get one of these. So again, I've only got my Dremel, so I've made this for my Dremel. If it doesn't work with yours, well, grab a block of wood, do what I did earlier, make your own, and it'll work, in theory. Thanks for watching. Good luck on the giveaway, if you enter it. As I said, put Dremel in the comments below, and there'll be a draw on that. Yeah, interesting little project. When I get some decent Dremel bits that can cut rather than burn, I shall be playing with this and using it more. Go and see Wayne's. Go and look at how I made the indexing ring if you haven't got one. Very simple to make. All the necessary info's there, and very cheap as well. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.